Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of What's Blooming Inside of My Indoor Garden for the month of October and November. And this time, let's dive straight in and I will start this video talking about Rhyncattleanthe Shinfong White Charm. I am sure I mispronounced the name, but I've shown you this orchid before if you are not new to this channel. It's a beautiful white Cattleya that has some sort of fragrance that's similar to all the Cattleyas, nothing to write home about. What's special about this plant is that it was a back division that I exchanged with someone on Facebook, I believe. And I've been growing this plant for at least 3 years, and it's finally matured and bloomed for me a couple of months ago. And I thought this type of Cattleya would bloom only once a year, but surprise, surprise, that's not actually the truth. It blooms more than once a year depending on its growths. And now that I have a new and completely mature growth, it pushed out a flower spike and it finally bloomed for me again, this time with two beautiful white flowers, but I almost missed the beautiful blooms. Took me a while to be able to film it. That's why you can see a little bit of grazing on brownish around the petals and sepals. And also I had an ongoing infestation of insects that are munching on my Cattleyas. Nonetheless, super beautiful. I love these white flowers. It's the only white Cattleya that I have in my collection. And I offer the same care that I offer to all of my Cattleyas. Bright sunlight. I only water when they are completely dry. And as I said, I've been growing these in the same potting mix for 3 years, so I have to repot this later soon. But let's move on and let's go to the next Cattleya. The next one is another very difficult name for me. Rhyncholaeliocattleya Toshie Aoki. This is a very complex hybrid as the previous one, but the special thing about this orchid is that I brought it from Brazil. When I visited my family a year ago, I managed to contact a nursery and got 3 beautiful orchids, and this is one of them. And it was in bloom when I found it in a nursery in Brazil. I linked the video down below. But this one specifically, it's so beautiful because it has these super fluffy Cattleya flowers with a very bright color. It pushed out 3 beautiful large flowers for me. They also have the same type of fragrance that you can see in other Cattleya flowers, this sort of floral slashy rosy, perfumey, but nothing that will be super powerful that you cannot be close to. I have sun sensitivity and this one is okay, but for me the most special thing about this plant is definitely the flowers. They are large, they are very, very bright, not only the red tone, but also the yellow tone and how they complement each other. It's a super warm type of a flower that when it's in bloom, it definitely bright the whole room up. So it's a very special plant for me. The downside of this plant is that it is super tall. It's going to become a massive Cattleya at some point, but I'm so happy that I finally figured out how to grow these beauties. So, talking about Cattleyas, let's go to the next one. And this one, if you followed me here, if you watch my videos, you definitely saw this one in bloom before. This one is my beautiful cutie Cattleya, Crystelle Smith Nathan's Reward. This one is a compact, tiny Cattleya that fits everywhere. It's super easy to bloom and rebloom. Doesn't require the brightest spot in your house. It grows well under growing light as well. I had no issues reblooming this plant or growing it. It will bloom for you multiple times a year when it matures its growths. it will simply keep blooming and reblooming. I showed you this plant many times, as I mentioned before, and it is in bloom again. I noticed that now that the weather is a little bit cooler, the flowers, they have a stronger color. Maybe it's affected by the temperature. Nonetheless, I have two beautiful, cute flowers, different from the previous Cattleyas. This one has no fragrance, but it's great because of its size, how compact it is, and also the color combo is really nice. I love this combination of this sweet pink with this super bright, like egg yolk tone of yellow. Now, let's go to the last Cattleya of this list. This one is a complex hybrid that I received from another orchid grower and plant grower who lives in the Netherlands. We used to contact each other on Instagram, I believe, and we also swapped some cuttings and some divisions. And she sent me this Cattleya, but unfortunately it is a no ID. The flowers, they are all speckled, they are freckled, and I love the combo, this kind of sweet purple with white, and how cute the lip is. The only downside to this Cattleya is the fragrance. I've spoken to you about this before. If you're new here, it's the first time, but this Cattleya has a fragrance of mothballs. And not only I can sense it, but like my husband, who doesn't have fragrance sensitivity, he was in the room. I asked him and he confirmed. He's like, oh, it smells like mothballs. I said, yeah, it does. So that is like, nothing can be perfect, right? I love this plant, but I hate its fragrance so much. It makes me a little bit sick, but the flowers, they are gorgeous. And as you can see, I had so many Cattleyas in bloom for the first time. And yay, I can finally celebrate because I managed to grow healthy Cattleyas in London. And for me, this is an achievement. So now let's go to the next orchid. So we are going to the realm of Oncidiums and Intergenerics, starting with the Bratonia Shelob Tolkien. I have a whole video about this orchid. I've shown you this one before as well. This is a super darling orchid for me. It's the only Brassica hybrid that I have in my collection currently. I want to have more in the future. I know that some people don't really adore these flowers so much, but I think when they are in bloom, they're very different from other orchids. And I love the spidery shape and how they look, especially when you have ton of beautiful spidery flowers. They look so cool. So I definitely enjoy having these plants in bloom. This plant wasn't the healthiest in the past year. It got attacked by pests. It got repotted. It lost some of its roots, but it's bouncing back and finally managed to rebloom for me. So I will have new growths and new flowers in the future. The downside of this plant is that it is a massive plant. So you look after it and keep growing. You need the space. But when you have a ton of new growths and they all bloom together, it's something that will definitely blow your mind. It's gorgeous. And also, when we talk about Tolkien, for me, I am in the Lord of the Rings books. Somehow it reminded me of it. But enough about books. Let's go to the next Oncidium. Here I have a parent of the beautiful Twinkle. This one is my Oncidium Rosy Sunset. This Oncidium is a color changer type of orchid. So when the flowers open, they will be kind of orangey and they will become completely pink when they get a little bit older. The flowers are super cute, the typical Oncidium shaped flowers, but nonetheless, it will push a ton of beautiful flowers. As you can see here, I have, I think, 4 flower spikes this time. This plant got repotted not long ago, and I'm so happy that it finally bounced back, and it's in full glory, full of pink flowers, and the last spike didn't fully open for me yet, but it will soon. So I will definitely have a bushy plant with so many tiny flowers. I can say that this plant is amazing. For me, it is very similar to the Twinkle in terms of fragrance and display. It's just a little bit larger than the Twinkle, but the advantage is I think this one is much more adaptable than the Twinkle. It's easier to look after the Rosy sunset. It usually grows faster as well, so if you want something that will be similar, but the easiest version, at least it's easier for you to look after, look for it. I found it locally in a garden center. It shouldn't be an expensive orchid. It's also a complex hybrid, so I super recommend this one. And to keep being in the realm of Oncidiums, the next one is my beautiful Sharry baby. I will not take a long time talking about it because I have a whole video about it. When I measured the flower spike, showed you how amazing it is. My Sharry baby is a massive plant. That's why I'm not filming it on the table where I filmed most of the other orchids, because it's heavy and I was scared to break the flower spike. So you're seeing some old footage. Now I have both spikes in full glory. The flowers are fading already, but the Sharry baby is one of these classic orchids that a lot of people know about because of its fragrance. People think that's like chocolatey or reminds them of vanilla. It is pretty sweet, and if you have fragrance sensitivity, bear in mind that the fragrance is very strong. It is too strong for me, but nonetheless, it's a lovely orchid. And now that I have a massive specimen with so many growths, I managed to have a longer and longer spike year after year with so many red flowers. So it is definitely a joy to grow. I super recommend. It is gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful. Next orchid here. It's another intergeneric. This one is a no ID. I have no idea what these flowers are called. If you know the name or at least something that is similar to it, let me know down below. I found it locally as well. This one has this type of star-shaped flowers, and they are super red, very, very bright red with a dark orange lip. They don't have any fragrance. The only disadvantage to this Oncidium specifically is that they are very prone to pests. The leaves are thin and insects love to munch on this orchid. I had spider mites destroyed some of its leaves. I had to keep cleaning and cleaning. So I think this orchid could be much healthier than what it is right now. However, because of all the infestations that I had before, I think it took a toll on my orchid. It's slowly recouping. Soon it's gonna be hopefully a super healthy orchid, but it decided to bloom and I couldn't deny to look at these beautiful flowers. It's not a lot of them, just some, but aren't they beautiful? That's the second intergeneric that I have that has red flowers, but these ones, the flowers are a little bit smaller than the other one and they are brighter as well, and I super love it. So now let's talk about my Tolumnia. I have here my Tolumnia Jairak for Pink Lady. It finally bloomed for me. This is the youngest Tolumnia in my collection. It was just some super young funds not long ago, but now it's fully matured and I couldn't wait for it to bloom for me. It's the last Tolumnia that I bought here in the UK from Spice Exotic Plants, and it's my Tolumnia Jairak from Pink Lady. When you look at the online photos, it's supposed to be super bright pink with some freckles, or it's not the case. The pink is a bit lighter than some of the pictures, but that's okay because these plants are super complex hybrids, so they can be a bit different from other hybrids out there. I love Tolumnias. They are super tiny and compact orchids. When they start blooming, also they are able to rebloom multiple times a year, and you're gonna have these tiny flowers around you almost all the time. They resemble the dancing lady orchid, like one of the oncidiums. They are similar, but they are not oncidiums. They are completely different genre of orchids. And I super recommend them for people that don't have much space. They are space savers for sure. And also they can actually branch out and bloom again from the same spike. So not only we have these tiny cute blooms, but we might have more blooms in the future. It's still a young plant. Hopefully it will push out more flower spikes. So next I have here another beauty that decided to bloom for me, actually to rebloom for the first time, is my gorgeous Cycnodes Wine Delight. I have a whole video about this plant as well. I link it down below, so I will not keep talking about it again. But just to let you know, Cycnodes are part of the Cattleya family, and it has these gorgeous flowers. This one, the flowers are red. That's one of my favorite tone of flowers and one of my favorite colors in life as well. And they are also thick when you touched them. They like have this super nice lip. I don't know how to describe. The only thing that I can say is that I was so happy to finally have this plant in bloom. It means that I'm getting it right for the first time. However, Catasetans and all of the Cattleya plants, they are prone to pests because the leaves are very thin, and they only will bloom for you when they mature a new growth, which can take a while, especially if you have pests munching on them. On top of that, you need to offer all the bright light that you have. They super appreciate it to be able to bloom and rebloom. And this one has a very weird fragrance as well. I don't recommend to have it near you if you have fragrance sensitivity because it can make you sick. But if it's far away from you and you're just gonna see it from time to time, it is a beautiful orchid. I adore it. I think, yeah, I said it before, but I will repeat it. I would love to have more Catasetans. I think they are beautiful. They bloom in my country, so it definitely reminded me of Brazil as well. And yeah, let's go to the next one. So now I'm gonna talk about one that it is one of these orchids that I love to look after. It's always in bloom year after year. I know that this one will rebloom for me. It's one of the easiest Paphiopedilums in my collection. It's my Paphiopedilum Mrs White. I think this Paphiopedilum is gorgeous, even if I compare to others. I love how it blooms. The flower spike's not super tall, it's short, and will push out these super large white flowers. The pouch is big and gorgeous, and I don't know, I think it's so cute. It's like chubby somehow. That's what reminds me of big cheeks, and I think it's super cute. I love this Paphiopedilum, and I love the fact that it's so easy to rebloom as well. It doesn't fuss about humidity or about anything else. Just keep blooming and reblooming, which is gorgeous. If you're looking for a Paphiopedilum that's easy to look after, don't look further. This one is super easy. Hopefully it will be accessible where you are as well, affordable. For me, it was very affordable, so I can't complain. That's the reason why I got this one. And I'm happy that I have it in my collection, not only because the flowers are gorgeous, but as I said, because it's super easy to look after. You are not being able to see it here, but for the first time, it pushed out 2 flower spikes, which is amazing. When I recorded this video, the flower spikes, one of them had buds, but now they are all open. You're not gonna see it here, but just to let you know, they are all open, and it put a beautiful flower show for me. Now, one more orchid that I can confirm it is a regular for me. This one is my beautiful Vanda sanderiana. And this Vanda sanderiana, it's amazing. It blooms for me year after year. It can push out a flower spike once a year only. It's seasonal. Here in my environment at least, when the temperature drops, when winter is approaching, that's when these plants will bloom. Push out the flower spike during summertime or end of the summertime. And this one, yeah, it is a gorgeous one. The people come to my house and look at it. It's like, oh, wow, this has a beautiful flower spike. They ask me which type of orchid is this because it is impressive to look at. The flowers are all so large. They remind me of maybe some butterflies somehow. It has a very subtle tone of pink to it. It's like pink and white. And the lip is dark, and you're gonna see that it has some sort of brown freckles. Yeah, something like that. It's like brown and yellow. Don't know how to explain the color, but something around there. And it is a beautiful plant. I look after it in my flat. I offer it only natural light. As you can see, it's possible to live in a cold country and grow vandas. I have a macrame hanger, and these plants stay in the hanger for the whole year, receives only eastern sunlight, and it's able to keep growing roots, growing leaves, and also growing beautiful flowers. I offer it fertilizer because vandas needs their fertilizer, and I tend to water it in my bath because the easiest way for me to actually water this big pot. The disadvantage is that you're gonna need some space. These are massive plants, so they do require the space. Last but not least, I have finally a Bulbophyllum in bloom. This one is what I believe to be the Bulbophyllum Nudda, which is a hybrid. So I got this Bulbophyllum in one of these hauls on eBay that somebody was advertising as sick plants or plants that needs to be revived. So he was doing this big sale. It was the first time that I decided to buy this discounted bundle many years ago. And this Bulbophyllum is one of maybe the only survivor from that haul. I'm not sure. It had a wrong tag. I was expecting to see something different from what it is. And when it pushed out the flower spike, I got super excited because I've never had a Bulbophyllum to bloom for me. I have more than one Bulbophyllum. They keep growing vegetatively, but none of them bloomed before. One viewer once told me that in a shallow pot, their Bulbophyllum started to grow and bloom. Maybe that's the trick, I don't know, but I've been growing the same pot for years since I got it. And now it finally pushed out a flower spike. I think it's mature enough to bloom. The flowers are very different, which is so exciting. I don't know how you feel when you look to different and super wild orchid blooms. I love it. So this one has this super long lip. This lip actually is the way that these plants got to be pollinated. So in nature, they are pollinated by moths at night time, and the lip is what helps them to evolve and to be, anyway, pollinated by the right insect. Super, super nice. On top of that, it has zero fragrance. I cannot feel anything. For me, yeah, which is great because some Bulbophyllum, they can have a terrible fragrance. It's not the case of this hybrid. And I know that's not super colorful, but even so, it's the kind of flower that you look and, brings you some curiosity to understand why the flower is so different from some of other flowers that you have around. Just to let you know, I don't think bulbophyllums are difficult to grow. They are kind of easy. They are adaptable with different light. You can offer just some bright light and they will be okay. I don't offer them Cattleya light, I don't offer them Vanda light, and they keep growing vegetatively. They are doing super fine, and now they finally bloomed. I had no idea why the other bulbophyllum didn't bloom yet. I will have to keep investigating, but I finally have this one, and I find it super, super cute as well. And with that, I conclude my video today. If that's the type of content you enjoy seeing here, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, let me know which one of these plants is your favorite this month, and I'll keep producing more videos and I'll keep showing you beautiful blooms in the future. That's it. Bye bye.